Afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. Today, folks, I got another one for you, and that is by the company that goes by the name of CCCP. This is a brand, a Russian space-themed brand under the Dartmouth branding. So, they were nice enough to send me one of their red steel Neujmin watches. I think I'm saying that right. It's Neujmin, and basically that's named after, the inspiration comes from Grigory, not going to even say that middle name, Neujmin, 1886 to 1946. And he was a Georgian-Russian astronomer, native to Georgia, and discovered numerous minor planets as well as 6 periodic and a hyperbolic comet, etc., etc. So he's pretty well-renowned Russian astronomer, and this is where the theme comes from a lot of the CCCP watches. At first, when Dartmouth sent me some of these watches, I thought that this was more of like a Russian military-themed brand, and I'm pleasantly surprised that it's not, with everything going on in the world. And remember, with a watch like this, I get all kinds of comments from people, most of which are positive. But remember, if there's products out there that you don't like because they might support something, or they might be might remind you of something or get you triggered, just don't buy them. Okay, if you don't like this watch and you're against anything that reminds you of Russia, then don't buy the watch. Just click off. Don't watch the video. For everybody else who are calm and sane and the ability to think and reason, this is just a review of this cool watch. So, alright, so let's take it off the wrist. Now, I did do this video earlier, and I forgot I didn't size the watch, so I'm redoing the video. So this is what it looks like. So, very interesting way of telling time. You basically have the CCCP logo and the 4 stars right in the middle of the watch, and then you have what I'm going to say, how I'm going to describe as the second, minute, and hour markers actually orbiting the logo, right? So a little bit different than your standard hour or your standard hands. Kind of an interesting way of telling time. And this is almost like what I would consider almost like an Art Deco modern watch. You know what I mean? It's you don't really know what you're looking at here. Very cool. Just very interesting. Very easy way to tell time as well. You basically have your seconds in the middle. Let me give it a little wind here. And for those who are wondering, it is an automatic watch. Give it a little wind. And you'll see that second marker is right in the middle there, the round marker. The other 2 are triangular. And that's just going to rotate right around the center of the dial. And that's your second marker. And then, of course, very easy to tell time with the other markers on here, your hour and your minute. The watch is all 3/16 stainless steel. Nice construction. You guys know I never really talk too much about, the finishing, the fit, because it's so subjective. When I look at the finishing on every watch that I've reviewed, I don't ever look at them and say, oh man, they could have done better. Now, maybe if it's like a $20 watch, you're going to see a difference in finishing. When you're looking at watches of this caliber, they're fantastic. So, you have an exhibition window on a screw-down case back, showing off that automatic movement, although it is very hard to see through that red window. I wish they would have made the window just a tad bit lighter, but I like the fact they tinted it. Very cool. You have the CCCP logo engraved right in that crystal, and the crystal on these is an acrylic crystal to the best of my memory here. Let me just double check. Of course, they don't list it. Oh, there it is. A hardened mineral lens. So some sort of mineral glass. It's not. Some folks have that sapphire lens checkbox. For me, never scratched the watch. It's not really something I'm too concerned with. Very cool looking watch. It does not have a screw down case back, unfortunately. Sorry, it does not have a screw down crown, unfortunately. And I just kind of feel, I don't understand a lot of times when companies don't do that, because you have a beautiful screw down case back. Why not just add a screw down crown? You know what I mean? Bump up the water resistance a little bit. But it's not a deal breaker. It's 42 millimeters in case size. Strap width, they say here 20 to 18. I'm not sure what they mean by that. Generally strap width, they probably mean it tapers down a little bit, which is what it appears to. So 20 millimeter at the lugs. If you want to change this up, you can. As far as the strap, you have solid end links, solid center links. And yeah, I mean, just gorgeous. I mean, it's a great watch. Stamped clasp, that's a deal breaker for some. For me, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Dual push button deploying clasp. No safety lock, but just a great watch, great build, very clean, very simple, very modern. This is if you haven't noticed already, a Jubilee style bracelet that you would find like on a Rolex, right? What urban gentry would say, the jingly jangly. So pretty cool. I always like this bracelet. It's very very flashy, you know. Definitely dig it. As far as the box is concerned, all right, so here's the box. All the CCP watches come in something very similar. They are limited edition to 300 pieces on a lot of their watches. I don't know if that's all of them. As I review a watch, we'll disclose that. There is no, that I can tell, limited. Oh, no, it is number 366 of 400. Excuse me, I misspoke. 400 pieces. This must be the box for one of the other ones. So, but pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Nothing really to write home about. If you're familiar with like an Invicta box, it's just a cardboard box. You know, I never really get too involved in showing off the box. What's most important is what you're going to get on your wrist. And I think this is a very unique watch. If you like watches that are themed, you know, I think that having a little bit of a story about the watch is cooler. But again, with something like this, as far as the theme behind it, how it ties into the watch, it's really just a name, you know. This is one of these examples where, although I think the watch is really cool, I think it could be cool without the story, because ultimately the story has nothing to do with the watch. And that's something I think that companies should be a little careful on, and I hope that, you know, Dartmouth Brands got a lot of watches, so they want to sell watches, of course, like any other brand, but I would prefer for them just to name the watch, you know, because the story doesn't really have anything to do with any inspiration behind the watch, other than the fact that, yeah, it does have kind of a space sort of related theme with the way that the hour markers and minute markers and second markers orbit around the dial. But that's, you know, can kind of be said about any watch. You know, they all go around the dial, right? But I think it just does, you know, if you say to somebody, hey, this is space theme, they'll be like, oh, I can kind of see that. But I just think that, you know, the story has nothing to do with anything on the watch. His name's not on it. There's not anything. There's not his picture on it, at least, which would be a very, I think, weak way to tie a brand to the story. You know, when I like brands that are actually themed, I like to see something from, like, let's say we're naming. Like if you're having a car themed watch, right? This is just a very loose example. You might have a big brake rotor on the front or something like that, whereas that really ties it to the car, right? Let's say a brake company was doing a watch. Think of like the old show Orange County Choppers, right? When they did a bike, there was design elements on the bike that tied it to the company they were making the bike for marketing purposes, right? And so with this, it doesn't. There's nothing on the watch that ties it to this gentleman other than the fact that they named it after him and there was a story about it. It's no different than like naming a park bench and having a hey, this is in memory of, or this is a tribute to, right? And that's kind of where they went with this. So I think the story, I'd rather not see the story and just say, hey, this is named after this astronomer. And if you had all their watches that they said, hey, we're going to name every one of our watches after Russian astronomers, then great. It's simple. We get it. Okay, you're naming the watch. What's Neujmin? Oh, that was space astronomer, space-related brand, Russian brand, or Russian astronomer themed brand. It's great, but the story is pointless. But I do understand why they feel the need to mention it. I think it would be better to just state kind of the purposes behind it. You know what I mean? Just state that this is the watch brand and who was this guy, and then explain who he was, which they kind of did. But it's not like, and again, I might be. Like I said, I may be completely overthinking it, but that's kind of where my mind works when it comes to themed watches. Now, they didn't necessarily state that, you know, this is themed, but the name is there. I just kind of like to keep it a little more simple when it comes to that, you know. But anyway, just my 2 cents. Overall, though, it's a very cool watch, very, very interesting looking. And what I like about this, too, is because this brand is actually, I don't believe it's made in Russia. So again, depending on your, you know, beliefs about things in the world, again, buy what makes you happy, buy what makes you feel comfortable. But I like what I like most about this watch is that it is, you know, obviously it is themed after Russian space exploration, right? But I like that they're using Russian movements in the watch. So this is powered by a Slava mechanical automatic movement. There is no caliber and number on that, which is disappointing. I'd like to read more about it. You can't really read anything on the rotor. I guess you could take the back off and find that information, but do you want to do that? But I like the fact that they kept it Russian. They used a Russian movement. So very cool. As far as some of their other, they have a lot of other variations. Like I said, guys, link is in the description of every single video. Check them out. And this watch is available in a couple different color variations. If you don't like the red, you can get it in kind of like this deep teal. You can get it in the black, always safe. And then you can get it in the strapped versions, which are $40 less. So $600 for strap versions and $640 for the bracelet version. So very cool looking watch. As of right now, I don't have any kind of coupons or any way to save you guys a little bit of money, but as with anything I review, if I find it cheaper, whether it be on Ashford or some other site, I will list it on here. Sometimes these, I think these might even be on Amazon, but don't quote me on that. Check the links in the description. So very, very, very cool looking watch with a lot of varies. So let's throw it on the wrist. So I'm about 5'8", I weigh about 182 pounds. I have a 7-inch wrist now with the watch properly sized. I think I had to remove about 5 links on this. So this is what it looks like at a guy my size, my height, and my weight. Like I said, just a very fun watch. I think a lot of times, you know, not everybody collects watches in bulk like I do, right? A lot of people do. But I think that, you know, there are people out there who are looking for something just unique and different, and maybe they're only going to have one watch. You know, maybe they're not going to, you know, buy 5, 50, 100 watches, right? And they just want something that's going to be very, very unique. Maybe they are, you know, in the field of space exploration. Maybe they are Russian descent, you know, whatever the reason. I think this is a very cool brand. I know a lot of collectors have collected, like the other Vostok, I think it's Vostok, or I feel like there's 2 different Vostok brands, but don't quote me on that. I remember looking at one of them. You guys let me know in the description, but I think it was like there was one watch called the Kamensky. Let me just check that out real quick here. Vostok, Kaminsky, bear with me. Yeah, Vostok. But I feel like like I said, I feel like there's 2 different Vostoks. Maybe there's like an American branded Vostok and then a Russian branded. But I think it's cool. You know, I think that when other companies, you know, I don't know. I think it's cool that a watch made in China, made in Japan, made in Switzerland. You know, I mean, it's really interesting to see what other countries do. I don't know. I just kind of find it fun. It's nice to have a different story with every watch. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. So anyway, guys, if I can help you in any way, let me know. Drop me a comment. Drop me an email. I'm always here to help you guys out. This video is actually a request from one of my subscribers who said, hey, do you have this watch? And I said, let me check. And sure enough, I did. I'm not sure. I don't even think I've reviewed one of the CCCP watches yet. So kind of coincidental he mentioned that. But here it is, guys. Let me know what you think. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day and take care.